So, rules for exponentials. What are exponentials in general? I'm pretty sure you all know what an exponent is. So, for example, if you have 5 to the power of 2, okay? This is your exponent, and this is what they call the base, all right? And what does this simply mean? 5 to the power of 2 simply means it's 5 times 5, all right? It's the base multiplied by itself, the exponent number of times. I'm pretty sure everyone knows this at this point, which is basically equal to 25. So we have a lot of different rules for exponentials, okay? These are the rules on the right. You can see all of them that you have been shown, I'm pretty sure, in class to use to solve. And you obviously need to memorize these. These won't be given to you. But I'm going to go like step by step with each rule to explain like why we are reaching this rule. So let's first take the simplest one. Let's say we have 2 to the power of 2 times 2 to the power of 3. What does this mean? This, if we want to expand it, this basically means we have 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2. So how many 2's do we have? We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So simply we can rewrite this in a way by saying this is 2 to the power of 5. If you notice, another way of writing this, it's simply just adding the two exponents over here. So we can say it is just 2 to the power of 2 plus 3. 2 plus 3 is equal to 2 to the power of 5. And that's how we get this equation, which is a to the power m times a to the power n is equal to a to the power m plus n in any case, okay? What about the second one? Let's say we have 2 to the power of 2 divided by 2 to the power of 3. If we rewrite this, this is like saying 2 times 2. Let's do it in the opposite way before we move on. So let's say this is 2 to the power of 3 divided by 2 to the power of 2. This is like saying 2 times 2, the one at the bottom. All right? So if you notice here, you can cancel the 2, this 2, and the second 2, you can cancel it with the second 2. And you will be remaining with 1, 2. So this is equal to 2 to the power of 1. So what does this mean? We can say that 2 to the power of 3 divided by 2 to the power of 2 is simply saying it's going to be the numerator value minus the denominator value. So you will be subtracting. So in other words, you can write it as 2 to the power of 3 minus 2, and 3 minus 2 is simply 1, or you can also write it as 2. All right? I don't believe they will give you these rules in the exam. That's why you must either understand or memorize all of the rules over here. So we are done with subtraction. Let's go now to the a power 0 equal 1. Let's say we have 2 to the power of 5 divided by 2 to the power of 5. Okay? So if we have 2 to the power of 5 divided by 2 to the power of 5, this is simply, as we use the previous rule, we can say this is 2 to the power of 5 minus 5. Isn't that right? So this is basically equal to 2 to the power of 0, because 5 minus 5 is equal to 0. Now, what does any number divided by itself? Like if we have 3 over 3, what is that equal to? It's equal to 1. 2 divided by 2 is equal to 1. 100 divided by 100 is equal to 1. X over x, it's equal to 1. So if we have 2 to the power of 5 divided by 2 to the power of 5, it is also equal to 1. So 2 to the power of 5 over 5 is equal to 1. And it's also equal to 2 to the power of 0. So what can we say? We can say that 2 to the power of 0 is equal to 1. In other words, any variable to the power of 0 will be equal to 1. So this is how you get to this equation, which is a to the power 0 equal to 1. We're done with that. Let's go to this one, a to the power of minus n. So let's say we have 2 to the power of minus 3, okay? We can rewrite this and say this is the same as 2 to the power of 0 minus 3. صح ولا لا؟ 2 to the power of 0 minus 3. And from the old rule that we learned over here, okay, what does this mean? We can separate these terms, and this is going to be 2 to the power of 0 divided by 2 to the power of 3, because this is just 0 minus 3. Okay? Now, we know that 2 to the power of 0 is equal to 1. And we know that 2 to the power of 3 is just 2 times 2 times 2. All right? Or we can keep it as 2 to the power of 3. In other words, we can say that this is equal to 1 over 2 to the power of 3. So 2 to the power of minus 3 is equal to 1 over 2 to the power of plus 3. So if you want to remove the minus and turn it into plus, it's going to be in the denominator. So anytime you have any variable to the power minus 5, for example, it's going to be equal to 1 over that same variable to the power of positive 5. All right? Makes sense? Let's move on to 2 to the power of 3, or let's say 2 to the power of 2 times 2 to the power of 2, all to the power of 3. If we rewrite this, this is simply saying 2 to the power of 2 times 2 to the power of 2 times 2 to the power of 2. صح ولا لا? If we want to make it even more direct, we can say it is 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2. So how many 2's do we have? We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 2's. So we can simply say that this is equal to 2 to the power of 6. So what can we conclude? That we have to multiply 2 and 3 to get 6. So when we have a double power, like a power raised to the same power, so an exponent raised to the same exponent, you're just going to say that 2 to the power of 2 times 3, which is equal to 2 to the power of 6. So the rule is if you have a to the power of n to the power of m, this is simply equal to a to the power of n times m. All right? What else is there? So we got this down. We got this down. Let's look at this, the square root. This is just simply, how do I put this? This is simply just memorization. Like this one, you have to just understand. Because this is called the fractional exponent rule. So if we have the square root of something, so let's say square root of 4, all right? This is equal to 2. Everyone should know this by now, right? The square root of 4 is equal to 2. But we can rewrite the square root of 4, like let's say square root of 4 is equal to as 4 to the power of half. Why? Because this is the square root. So this is like to the power of 2 basically, but to the power of half. Why is that? Because if we say, let's simplify, let's break this down a bit, okay? So we have 2. When we square it, we get 4, right? When we square the 2, we get 4. So what do we have to do for here to get to the 2? So what do we have to do for 4 to get to the 2? We have to do the exact opposite. So here we are squaring, here we are square rooting, which is 1 over 2. So it's the opposite of the exponent. That's basically what this means. All right? So just memorize or understand that when you have a square root, it's just a different notation for it, okay? يعني احنا we're doing the opposite calculation. So when we are squaring something, like from here going from 2 to the power of 2, we are squaring it, we want to increase the number. Here we are finding the square root of the number, and this is just a different notation of writing the same thing here, which is the square root or the radical sign. All right, it's the same case for any type of root. So let's say we have the fifth root of 20, for example. This is the same as saying 20 to the power of 1 over 5. All right, now let's say we have 20 cubed, all right, under the fifth root. You can rewrite this as 20, the cubed is going to be the power 3. divided by the fifth root, which is 5. Okay? This is just the rule of how to convert your radical into an index form. Okay, this and this, these two things mean the exact same thing. This 1 over 5 means the exact same thing as the radical. Okay? Obviously, with more practice, you'll get to understand it a bit more and more. What else do we have in the rules? So I explained this as well, m over n, depending on the power. So yeah, when we have, for example, 5 times 3 squared. This is the same as saying it's equal to 5 squared times 3 squared. You can distribute the power in the case where it's multiplication, huh? This has to be multiplication. So you can distribute the power for both. Okay? Same thing if it's in division. So if we have 5 over 3 to the power of 2, you can distribute the power onto both. So this is equal to 5 squared divided by 3 squared. This is just another rule of exponents, how you can deal with exponents. Keep in mind, this is only for multiplication, I think the spelling is completely off, bas, and division. Okay? This is very important. You cannot do this. 5 plus 3 squared. This is not equal to 5 squared plus 3 squared. This is completely wrong. Okay? So do not do this. This is wrong. The same thing with subtraction. You cannot do it. This is only for multiplication and division. So we're done with these two. And the same thing with the square roots. So let's look at the square root function. So let's say we have 5 squared times the square root of 5 times the square root of 3. If we rewrite this, the square root of 5, yeah, okay. So if we rewrite this, we can simply say that this is the same as the square root of, sorry, one second. One second. Let me see what this rule says. Square root AB is equal to square root of A times B. Ah, yeah. Yes, exactly. So again, so we have the square root of 5 all under the square root times the square root of 3. We can simply say that this is equal to the square root of 5 times the square root of 3. Why do we say this? Because remember the rule of the radical? This is simply saying like this is 5 times 3 to the power of half. Because the square root here, the square root, this is equal to this. This is just a different notation, a different way of writing it. So we remember from the rule before this that we can distribute the power in the case of multiplication. So we can distribute this onto each. So this is equal to 5 to the power of half times 3 to the power of half, which also means square root of 5 times square root of 3. وطبعا vice versa, يعني you can start from square root of 5 times square root of 3 and go and put them under the same root. Okay? Again, the same rule goes in division. So if you have 5 divided by 3, this is equal to the square root of 5 divided by the square root of 3 with the same exact concept, the exact same concept that we are doing before. So square root of 5 over 3, this is the same as saying 5 over 3 to the power of half. صح ولا لا? To the power of half, because the square root is equal to half. So we could distribute this. It's going to be 5 to the power of half over 3 to the power of half. So it's simply equal to square root of 5 divided by square root of 3. Okay? And that's pretty much all the rules. We covered all the concepts, all the rules that you need to know for your exam, all the rules you'll ever need to know about exponentials in general, to solve, to simplify, to resolve, all of those using these rules. This theory, you don't need to memorize any of this theory. This is just to help you understand where these rules all come from. Yani it might help, it might not for some people, but most importantly for your exam, you need to have these all in your head memorized. either through understanding or through just brutal forcing يعني المعلومات في مخكم. Okay? Now, just a quick note, like if we have something with 5, for example, the square root of 5 times the square root of 5. This is, you should already know that this is straight up equal to 5. Okay? This is straight up equal to 5. Why? Because the square root of 5 times the square root of 5 is also equal to square root of 5 times 5, which is equal to square root of 5 squared, which is equal to 5 to the power of 2 divided by the power of 2. So the 2 and the 2 will cancel, so it's simply equal to 5 to the power of 1, which is 5. This is just the theoretical way behind it, but you should completely understand directly that when you see the square root of a number times itself, it's just basically the number squared. All right? Yani, so it is going to be equal to 5. Tamam? Any questions so far about just in general the rules, when to use them? Now, inshallah, after this, we'll just start diving into questions. We'll try to solve the entire worksheet. نعم هالمحاضرة مسجلة. It's all recorded. My voice is clear, right, for everyone? Can I get a thumbs up or yes in chat? Okay. Fatma, double check from your side then. Okay. So let me just repeat this concept because someone asked. So when we have the square root of any number, let's take 10 for example, times the same square root of 10. This you can directly like simplify it and say this is equal to 10. This is just a hint, this is just, you could say a shortcut, but I don't like using that word, but this is basically a shortcut. لأن this is basically multiplying a number by itself. So when we have a times a, what does this equal to? What does a times a equal to? It's equal to a squared. You guys should know that by now, right? When you multiply two numbers, but the same number by itself, it's equal to that number squared. So we can rewrite this in the same thing. So this is like square root of 10 all squared. What does this mean? This means that this is 10 squared over 2. Or people usually directly cancel out. They say, oh, this is squared. This is a square root. You can cancel the square with the square root, which is basically doing the same thing. You're canceling the 2 with the 2 here. So this will be equal to 10 to the power of 1, which is simply just 10. So when you have two values of the same values or the same bases under the square root multiplying, like you're multiplying them with each other, the answer will be just that number by itself. Any questions? Any questions about any of these concepts before we start solving? Okay, great. Let's move on into solving questions directly then. So we have 6 to the power of 3 times 6 to the power of 7. This is going to be equal to, we have multiplication in between. Multiplication means since they have the same base, keep this in mind, they have to have the same base for you to be able to use this rule. So if this is not 6 and 6, you cannot use this rule, okay? But since they have the same base and this is multiplication, this becomes addition for the indices, or for the exponents. So this will become 6, 3 plus 7. This is equal to 6 to the power of 10. And this is your final answer. Why is this your final answer? It says simplify the following and leave your answers in index form. An index form meaning in this indicial form or in this exponential form. Okay, so that's what index form means. I'm pretty sure this is clear for everyone. We could start like just solving as many as we can now. Let me just bring all these questions here. Again, we're going to solve all of these in index form. So let's go for B. This is equal to 4. We have multiplication. Multiplication becomes addition for indices. So this is 4 to the power of 5 plus 2, which is equal to 4 to the power of 7. All right. Let's go to C. We have multiplication. We have the same base x and x. So this will go into addition for the indices. Again, x to the power of 7 plus 9, which is equal to x. 7 plus 9 is 16. It's very easy, لا? It's super straightforward. Do you guys agree? Do you think this is super easy? صراحة يعني, it makes sense. It's very straightforward. All you need to know is just understand the rules, okay? Then, again, we have the same base over here, m and m. Multiplication, so this becomes addition for indices. So m to the power of 4 plus 3. This is equal to m to the power of 7, exactly. M to the power of 4 to the power of 3. Now we have power to power, so this is two powers in between. Since we have two powers, this becomes multiplication because it's a power to the power. So this is just equal to m to the power of 4 times 3, so it's equal to m to the power of 12. Ilkom معاي so far? Everyone's with me, right? Nothing is confusing. Everyone understands? Stop me if you have any questions. I'm going a bit quickly because it's يعني I don't think anyone's finding any difficulties, but if you are, let me know, please. All right? Same thing again here for f8 2 3. This is simply going to be multiplication because it's power to the power. So 8 to the power of 2 times 3, which is equal to 8 to the power of 6. Again, here we have multiplication. Multiplication means addition of indices. So this is equal to 5 since we have the same base. 5 to the power of 3 plus 9, which is equal to 5 to the power of 12. Okay? Now, here we have three variables, or I should say three exponential components. We have, all of them have the same base x. All of them have the same base x. Don't confuse yourself. Start by solving the first one, and then do the second one. You could solve it all directly if you feel comfortable with, but you can solve it all directly. X to the power of 6. So because this is multiplication, this is going to be plus. So x to the power of 6 plus 12. All of this times x to the power of 3. So you can simply rewrite this as x to the power 6 plus 12 is 18 times x to the power of 3. Again, we have multiplication, we have the same base. So this is going to be addition between them. This is simply equal to x to the power of 18 plus 3, which is x to the power of 21. You can do it all directly if you want. Yani, for example, you could just go here and write plus 3 and just solve it and remove this. But yani, whatever is easier for you. I don't want you guys to get too confused. Solve it in the way you're comfortable with. X to the power of 3. Again, we're going to start with the first one. We're going to start with the first one. We have multiplication here. And because we have a multiplication between, this will become addition for the indices, but we will see that later. Let's do it step by step. So x to the power of 3 times 4 times x to the power of 5. This is equal to x to the power of 12 times x to the power of 5. Multiplication becomes plus x to the power of 12 plus 5, x to the power of 17. All right? Simple. Same thing again here. Step by step, you always go step by step. So we have m to the power of 4 times, this is going to be multiplication, all right? So it's equal to m to the power of 10. I'm just going to take a shortcut here, times m. So you could just, if you want, if you're comfortable, you could take all the bases. They all have multiplication. So we could all do plus in between. Remember, if there's no exponent, that means it's to the power of 1 and not 0. So if there isn't an exponent, like for the m over here, this m, it doesn't have an exponent. This isn't a 0. This is a 1. Okay? So simply, this will be equal to m to the power of 4 plus 10 plus 1, which is equal to m to the power of 15. You can do it step by step. Yani you can do this by itself and then this by itself. Up to you, whichever makes it easier. Any questions so far before we move to question 2? This is clear, I'm guessing, for everyone. For G, what is the base? What if the base wasn't the same? How do we solve it? If the base isn't the same, it's not solvable. That's simple. If the base isn't the same, you cannot simplify it more than that. There is a way, but I will elaborate a little more on it later on when we go into log and stuff. But yani, for now, just I need you to understand the concept of the same base, how you will be able to solve it. Okay? There is a way, but we will talk about it more, inshallah, tomorrow when we talk about log. No questions so far. We move to the next question then. Okay, simplify the following and leave your answer in the index form. Index form means we don't need to find actual numbers and calculate. So let's do this one by one. Just a second. Let me move all of these a bit down. So 6 to the power of minus 4 times 6 to the power of 7. Again, same exact concept, same basis. We have a multiplication. This will turn into addition. This is equal to 6 to the power of minus 4. Don't forget your signs. Plus 7. Minus 4 plus 7 is simply 7 minus 4. So it's 6 to the power of 3. Okay? Very straightforward. Don't let the minus confuse you. B, this is the same as, since again, same base. Multiplication means addition. So you will write 10. 8 plus minus 5. Okay? Because there's a minus over here. So this is plus minus 5. So this is the same, because plus times minus is equal to minus. So this is 10 to the power of 8 minus 5. 10 to the power of 3. Okay? Don't get confused by the minus. It just means that this is, the exponent is negative, and you could just simplify it. There's so many other different ways of also simplifying it, but I think this is the easiest way to do it. Okay? Now, let's do this question. Now, x, I think this is straightforward. Base, same base, multiplication becomes addition, equal to x to the power of 7 plus 3, x to the power of 10. Pretty sure all of you know that by now. Again, this is because it is brackets power to the power. This becomes multiplication. So this is equal to x minus 2 times 3 minus 2 times 3. That is equal to x to the power of minus 6. Another way, but you shouldn't write it because in this case, it's calling for the index form. Another way you can write this is equal to 1 over x to the power of 6. You need to know that if you have a negative number here, you can write it in this way with a positive number. The reason I'm showing you this now is because you have a multiple choice exam. They might give you either this as the answer, or they might give you this as the answer. Of course, not both at the same time, but you need to understand that they are the same thing. Okay? So again, these two are the same thing because of the negative over here. All right? Now, moving on. Same bases. Same bases means that this is multiplication. We're going to add equal to y minus 12 plus 5. This is equal to y to the power of minus 7. Again, because this is negative, you can write it as 1 over y to the power of positive 7. Because this is negative, this becomes positive 7 in the denominator. Okay? Simple. Any questions so far? Nothing. Okay, I want you to type in chat that it's easy. عشان شوي قلبي يطمن يعني. Is it easy? I want to see easy in chat. Easy. Yes, thank you. زين. Moving on to division. Perfect. يعني كلكم إن شاء الله 100 في الفاينل. كلكم إن شاء الله 100 في الفاينل when it comes to these questions. Okay? Haram if you lose marks on these questions, honestly, because these are like free marks, because this is very straightforward concepts. You just have to make sure you memorize basic rules, which and that comes with practice. The more you practice, the more you understand. Now, why here we have division? So remember, multiplication was addition, right? Here we have division. What does division mean? Division means subtraction. Simple. Multiplication means addition. Division means subtraction. We have the same base. So y to the power of 8 minus 3 y to the power of 5, and we're done. Same thing again here. We have division. Division means subtraction. Same base, same base. Just be careful when you're writing. Make sure you're looking at all the notations, all the signs of each number. So it's going to be 2 minus 4, because we have another minus over here. So it's 2 minus 4. I don't know why I wrote y. This is 7. All right, which is equal to 7. 2 minus and minus becomes plus 4. So this is equal to 7 to the power of 6. Okay, moving on to H or H. Don't be scared. Step by step. So m power 4, we have a bracket here. We multiply. We can do the same thing here. We multiply. So this is equal to m to the power of 4 times minus 2 times m to the power of 3 times 5. We simplify this. 4 times minus 2 is minus 8 times m to the power 3 times 5 is 15. We have multiplication. Multiplication becomes addition for indices or exponents. So this is m minus 8 plus 15. So it's equal to m minus 8 plus 15 is 7. صح? Yeah, it's simply 15 minus 8, which is 7. Okay? Clear? Now, again, step by step. Always go step by step. Here, you have multiplication first. So this is plus. And then we have division second, which is minus. Same bases all around, which is perfect. So we can solve it. Y to the power of, I can do it in one step. If you want to see in one step how you'll do it, you'll just write 6 plus 12, because we have the plus in between them, which is multiplication, then minus 5. Okay, so this is equal to y to the power of 7, 6, 13. 5 plus 6, yeah, 13. Y to the power of 13. You could do it separately. You could do it like first you could do the multiplication, then the division, or you can just do it in one step. That's up to you, whichever you're more comfortable with. Again, same thing here. We start step by step. We have multiplication. So this is 8 to the power of 3 times 4 divided by 8 to the power of 2 times 3. This is equal to 8 to the power of 12 divided by 8 to the power of 6. We have division. Division means subtraction. 8 to the power of 12 minus 6, which is equal to 8 to the power of 6, and we are done. Any questions so far? No questions. Perfect. Now, let's move on to this question, which is the simplify. بصراحة, for this question, since they're all numbers, my recommendation in the exam, not in learning, not in practice, in the exam, plug it into the calculator and solve. But you need to understand the main concept عشان it will help you plug it into the calculator faster. Okay? So 9 to the power of half. What do we know 9 to the power of half? What does this mean? This is the same as saying 9 under the square root. What's 9 under the square root? This is equal to 3. صح ولا لا? All right? So remember, half will mean square root. When we have this, when we have it in the denominator in the exponent, معناته عندنا square root. Okay? If it's 3, it's going to be cube root. If it's 4, it's going to be fourth root. So for example, 1 over 2, زين, this is equal to square root of a. إذا عندنا a 1 over 3, this is equal to cube root of a. A 1 over 4, this is equal to fourth root of a. عندكم a to the power of 2 over 3, this is equal to cube root of a squared. Okay? If we have a power 3 over 4, this is equal to fourth root a to the power of 3. تمام? This, with practice, you will get used to. The top number is the power of a. The bottom number is the square root or the root of the variable or of the value. تمام? That's the whole concept you need to understand. So, moving on, we have 3 in the denominator and 1 in the numerator. So this we know directly is equal to the cube root of something. And what is this something? It's 27. Done. Cube root of 27 is equal to, we know that 27, or I think you know that 27 is equal to 3 times 3 times 3, which is equal to basically any 3. Let me elaborate a little bit more on this. Okay, let me just give you guys the idea, the concept behind this. So if you do 3 times 3 times 3, this is equal to 27. Okay. فبما معناه 3 cubed is equal to 27. So if we substitute this 3 cubed into 27 here, we're going to get 3 cubed over 3. Or let's do it step by step. This is going to be 3 cubed to the power of 1 over 3. We know that we have to do multiplication here. And then this is equal to 3 times 1 over 3. You can simply just cancel the 2 3's over here. So this is simply equal to 3. Okay? The idea behind this is you need to find out if, for simple numbers where you already know the cube, the square, the fourth root, or whatever, all of that, you can simplify the bigger number into that smaller number and put the power to play with the power. That's the whole concept of this thing. But if it gets a bit too confusing, use your calculator, put it in one shot, and you will get your answer. تمام? You should know the logic behind it, بس I know وقت الامتحان كيف الوضع يكون, so I understand. Same thing here. The whole concept of this is you have to know 16. What is 16? What squared gives you 16? You know that 4 squared is equal to 16. Okay? You know that 4 squared, 4 times 4 is equal to 16. So we can say that this is 4 squared to the power of half. احنا شو سوينا؟ بس عوضنا هذا مكان ال 16. بس. We just substituted the 4 squared instead of 16. So because this is squared and half times, we multiply them with each other. 4 squared times half. This cancels with this. It's equal. You're equal with 4. Same exact thing here, but here you have a minus. So we will do the exact same thing. 4 squared is equal to 16, which implies that 4 squared to the power of minus half. And then the same steps as we did earlier, to the power of minus half. So this is basically 4 times 4 to the power of 2 times minus 1 over 2. We have a minus, so this is equal to 4 to the power of minus 1. شو معناته 4 to the power of minus 1? What did we do when we have a minus? When we have a minus over here, we convert it into the denominator. So 1 over 4 to the power of 1, or simply 1 over 4. مفهومة هالنقطة؟ In the exam, do we convert it as a root or do we just plug it into the calculator? على راحتكم. You can do it in any way you want. If you want to do it to root, it's faster for you. If you want to plug it in directly, it's faster for you. You can do it in any way you want in the calculator. I highly doubt he will bring a question like this. He will most probably, the question will be something along, let me see if he has, or if they have. They will be something like this. They will give you variables. الوضع مو كله calculator, and you will see that when we go into question 4. Here they're just asking you to simplify the following, but they're going to ask you to write it in index form where you need to understand some of it. إنزين? Now, 27 to the power of minus 2 over 3. Okay, yeah, 27 to the power of minus 2 over 3. What is 27? Remember, 3 cubed is equal to 27. صح ولا لا? So we could just substitute this into 27. By the way, once we learn logarithmic values and logarithmic equations, this will become so much easier for you guys. You will understand how to solve it with or without a calculator so much faster. Okay? But for now, you have to understand the basic concepts of just how to deal with this exponent. مو بهذا إنه you have to know 27 is 3 cubed and all that. It's just you have to understand what this exponent means and how you distribute it. If we substitute this, 3 to the power of 3 minus 2 over 3. This is the same as saying 3. You have to multiply here. So it's going to be 3 to the power of 3 times minus 2 over 3. This and this will cancel. So this is equal to 3 to the power of minus 2, which is equal to 1 over 3 to the power of 2, which is equal to 1 over 9. Tamam? Any questions about these concepts so far? Anything not clear in how I got to the final answer from any of these? Okay, let's go to the final question here. It's fine. And الحين inshallah I will explain it much slower in these questions, okay? Because these are the same questions. Okay. So let's start with the square. Rewrite the following in index form. So we don't want to simplify. مو بس هني تحطونه في الكالكوليتر. This won't work. You have to write it in index form. The calculator will not show it to you in index form. It will just give you the final answer. So let's go step by step. Square root of 8. Square root. What does the square root mean? The square root. What does it mean? Square root means to the power of half. So this is 8 to the power of half. Now we also know that 8 is equal to 2 times 2 times 2, which is equal to 2 cubed. Tamam? So this is equal to 2 cubed to the power of 1 over 2. Simply, this is equal to, you multiply here, 2 to the power of 3 over 2, and this is your index form. All right? You don't necessarily have to do all of this. You could just keep it in this form over here, and this is enough. This is also a correct solution. This is an index form, okay? But يعني, if you want to simplify it even more, it is possible, but this is sufficient. So this is also correct. The idea is knowing how to convert the square root into 1 over 2. Same thing with m. Cube root of m. What does cube root equal to? I want you guys to answer in chat. Hamad, I'll finish B and you can ask your question. What is cube root equal to? What is the answer here? It is going to be m to the power of 1 over 3. Exactly. And that's it. This is your final answer. Done. See how simple it is? Even if you have a lot of numbers next to each other, you just have to understand the basic concept and you will be able to solve. تفضل حمد. What's your question?
الحين فوق انت مو قلت 2 times 2 times 2 2 cube
ايه
لما قلت 4 times 2 هو نفس الشيء بعد 8 يطلع لا
انزين حلو 4 times 2 4 times 2 كيف بتكتبها ويا باور؟ ما تقدر ترد تكسر ال 4 into 2 times 2. عشان انت الباور، شو قانون الباور؟ قانون الباور يقول لك if you have two if you have a number يعني رقم نفسه تضربه في نفسه، هذا بيساوي الرقم to the power of 2. صح ولا لا؟ اذا عندك ثلاثة من هالرقم تضربه في نفسه بيساوي 2 to the power، او 4 مثلا، هذا بيساوي 2 to the power of 4 لان الرقم نفسه. هني عندك رقمين غير عن بعض، يعني عندك هني 4 وهني عندك 2، ما تقدر تحط، ما تقدر تجيب هذا الكيوبد من هالشيء. هاي الفكرة. فانت تبغى تجيب لك رقم انه تقدر تحصل الكيوب ماله دايركتلي او الباور ماله. تمام. Now let's move on to C. ولا تقول لي استاذ، قل لي فيصل، الله يخليك، زين شيبتني وايد. Now let's move on to C. M to the power of 6 to the power of half. What do we know? We know that this means we have to do multiplication. M to the power of 6 times 1 over 2 زين equal to 6 times half is basically 3, so m to the power of 3, and done. This is your answer. Okay? Everything is simple, right? Nothing is confusing here, I'm guessing. إذا عندكم سؤال, tell me. Let me know. Same thing here. This is multiplication. M, 10 to the power of 1 over 2 times 3. This is equal to 10 to the power of 3 over 2. انتهى الموضوع. That's it. That's how you simplify it. And the last one, 16 to the power, again, this is multiplication. So 16 to the power of half times minus 2. So this is equal to 16 to the power of minus 1. Do you understand how this is 16 to the power of minus 1? لأن هني if we have half times minus 2, this is equal to minus 2 divided by 2, which is equal to minus 1. Why it's on square root 16 to the power of minus 2? قصدك يعني why it's not square root 16 to the power minus 2? يعني كذي, why is it not this? This is correct. بس, and keep in mind the question is asking in index form. Index form, you have to not have any square root in there. That's why we are solving it this way. سؤال حلو. So he was asking يعني, okay, this is 16 to the power of half. 16 to the power of half is basically square root of 16 to the power of minus 2. احنا, the idea is when it asks for index form, you should not use the square root. It should be in this form. يعني هني, in the form of the exponent. That's the whole idea of index form. Index form means you have a base and an exponent. That's it. This is your index form. This is the only two things that can be there. This is what index form means. تمام? Any questions so far? If you want to simplify this more, بعد, the same idea as earlier, you can say that this is 4 times 4, which is equal to 16. يعني 4 squared قصدي, sorry, which is equal to 16. 4 squared. Oh, you can even say that this is 2 to the power of 4. You can do any of these يعني. So this is طبعا obviously to the power times minus 1. Minus 1. زين? So it's equal to either 4, 2 times minus 1, which is equal to 4 minus 2, which is equal, that's it. زين? Or 2 to the power of 4 times minus 1, which is equal to 2 to the power of minus 4, and that's it. Again, when it's asking in index form, you should not have anything in the denominator. ف يعني الجواب بيكون 16 minus 1, صح? Not 1 over 16. This you should not do. زين? This you should not do in the case of index form. Okay? This is the correct answer. This is the index form answer. تمام? And that's, I think, the entire worksheet. Any other questions about the entire concept? Anything, anyone يعني شيء مو واضح عنده من هني؟ I think it's very straightforward. Into best, you have to practice a lot until you get the hang of it. بعدين we will get إن شاء الله يعني I want to start log today بس ما باكم وايد تتخربطون ويا اللوج أبا يعني يكون وقته بروحه. It will take just 1 hour for theory, 1 hour for questions maximum. And it is straightforward. It's minus because here you are multiplying 16 to the power of half times minus 2. Minus half times minus 2 is equal to minus 1. فلازم يكون minus 1, not 1. Is in question 2. Main question 2. ما أعرف وين قصدك ب question 2. بس فهمت النقطة لا? You understood what I meant. Okay. Any other questions? حد عنده أي سؤال بشكل عام about this concept? This concept is clear? 2e. هني؟ So this was y power minus 12 times y power 5. It becomes plus. Minus 12 plus 5 becomes minus 7. Again, هني, this is wrong. This is not the actual answer. بس لأن it's multiple choice. يعني this is correct in mathematically this is correct. بس لأن they're asking in index form, this should be your actual answer. هني, this should be your actual answer. This should be your actual answer. Okay? But in multiple choice, they might just say, what is this equal to? You need to know that this can also be equal to 1 over x power 6. In this case, 1 over y plus 7. You just need to understand that. But this is the final answer. Okay? Final answer. Index form. Okay? آخر واحدة اللي تكون بالماينس صعب شوي خربط. أي واحدة اللي بالماينس. The 16 هذا اللي هني. Look, minus لا تتخربطون وايد وياها. Don't get confused when you see a minus. Okay? Let's give you an example. Let's say we have 5 to the power of 3 to the power of minus half مثلا. Okay? This you know already that you will multiply here. تعرفون لازم تضربون. So this is 5 to the power of 3 times minus half. الحين what you do here if you get too confused, take this part and solve it by itself. Write it by itself. So 3 times minus half. Okay? شنو 3 times minus half? This is plus, this is minus. So we know that the final answer will have a minus sign. Plus times minus is minus. And then 3 times half is just 3 over 2. Best. And that is your final answer. Okay. Now we plug it in back. So this is equal to 5. الحين تجيبون هذا وتكتبونه هني. So this is 3 times 5 to the power of minus 3 over 2. حلو. This is from like the solving point of view. Now, from the simplifying point of view, this 5 power minus 3 over 2, because we have a minus, this minus, in indexes and exponential equations, this simply equals 1 over the same exact thing, 5 to the power of 3 over 2, but instead of minus, this will turn into a plus. That's it. No need for any more confusion. Minus here just simply transforms the equation from up to down. That's it. And moves it from the numerator to the denominator, and it removes the minus sign. بس. تمام؟ إيه عادي يعني if you want to write this as equal to 5 to the power of minus 1.5 it's fine. But keep in mind it's a multiple choice exam. يعني عادي they write it as 3 over 2, عادي they write it as minus 1.5. They can write it in any way. إنزين? Oh, which is equal to 1 over 5 to the power of minus 1.5. Sorry, plus 1.5. It's the same thing بعد. Because 3 over 2 is 1.5. It's correct يعني. لا ما ينفع ابدا في الكالكوليتر. calculator is يوم تقولون بس simplify. لو يقولون لكم find the index form لازم تسوونه باليد. calculator ما بيساعدكم في شيء. You cannot use the calculator when it requests index forms. You need to make sure you understand how to solve and how to simplify an index form. Again, I want to repeat this concept. If you have 5 to the power of minus 3, this is simply just equal to 1 over 5 to the power of plus 3. That's it. This is the entire concept. شنو كان عندك يعني whatever you have here, it doesn't matter. If the sign is negative, that means it's 1 over the same thing that you have, but positive. Best. That is the whole concept. That is the whole concept. زين. I just want to add one small concept عشان يكون عندكم نفس دائما بيكون 1 الرقم اللي فوق. نعم, it will always be 1. Always. لأن if you remember البروف مال هذا, البروف الثيوري من ورا هذا شنو؟ 5 to the power minus 3 كأنه نقول 5 to the power of 0 minus 3. لو نرد نكتبه هاي كأنه 5 to the power of 0 over 5 to the power of 3 أو بطريقة أسهل يعني. زين, 5 to the power of 0 divided by 5 to the power of 3. تمام صح ولا لا؟ We always are doing this. يعني احنا عادة نروح من division to negative to minus, but now we're doing the opposite. Okay, we know that 5 to the power of 0 is always equal to 1. Anything to the power of 0 is equal to 1 divided by 5 to the power of 3. Division نقدر نكتبه 1 over 5 to the power of 3. This is the يعني theory behind it, why this is the answer. يعني هاي shortcut. This is just you memorize it. If you want to understand theoretically why, this is how you do it. تمام. إنزين. I want to go a bit into log. Just يعني خفايف مثل ما يقولون. عشان I want to show you guys a relationship between log ويا ويا شو يسمونه ويا exponential equations. يعني مثلا let us take this example. عندنا أول شيء you need to know the form. إحنا عادة نقول a to the power of n. زين, let's say this is equal to x. Okay, هذا هو exponential form اللي عندنا إياه. In log, when you use the log, I will go more detail about the theory of log. بس هني بس calculation numbering ماله كل هالسوالف. هني كأن نقول this is the log of a. ال a اللي هو هذا ال a اللي هني. this a log of a. زين, log of a x اللي هو هذا ال x الجواب اللي هني is equal to m. m is simply just the power. فالفكرة من اللوج بشكل عام if you notice هني يكون عندنا base and exponent and we find the answer. هني يكون عندنا base. انزين, يكون عندنا base answer الانسر السولوشن او answer. انزين, solution والجواب بيعطينا الاكسبوننت. This is the whole concept of log. ان احنا هني in an exponential form يكون عندنا base to the power of exponent. It gives us the solution. في حالة اللوج العكس يستوي. يكون عندنا البيس this base A and we have the solution but we need to find the exponent. مثال, let's say we have we know that 5 to the power of 3 is equal to 125. تمام. Oh, if you guys get too confused, 5 to the power of 2 is equal to 25. 5 times 5 equal to 25. This is our base, this is our exponent, and this is our solution. If we want to write this in log form, بنكتب log شنو البيس؟ البيس 5. شنو السولوشن؟ السولوشن 25. شنو الجواب مال هاللوج؟ It is equal to the exponent which is 2. This is the whole concept of log. The whole idea of log is to be able to solve exponential equations by having the solution and wanting to find the exponent of the number. يعني خلينا نسويه بطريقة العكس الحين. فرضا قولوا عندنا log base 3 27. What is this equal to? قبل ما we find what it's equal to, let's find the equivalent. The equivalent of it in exponent form. This is our base and this is our solution. صح ولا لا؟ And let's call this مثلا x. الexponent x. لأن we don't know what it is. Okay? This is the exponent in blue. فهني بنكتب البيس. شنو البيس مالنا؟ 3 to the power of x is equal to 27. This is what this means. هذا الحين السؤال. طبعا you can plug this in the calculator and get the answer directly. But the concept of this, the idea of this is you have the base 3 of a solution equal to 27. What is the exponent of it? So basically you're saying 3 to the power of what number gives you 27. طبعا if you look at it here you can directly say 3 times 3 times 3 ثلاث مرات x is going to be equal to 3. X equal 3. لأن 3 to the power of 3 is equal to 3 times 3 times 3 which is equal to 27. فهني x this is equal to 3. The same idea. هاي مثل ما يقولون الزبدة مالت اللوج. Inshallah tomorrow I will go way more in detail. I will explain how you use log to solve the different forms of log, the natural logarithm, the base 10 logarithm, all of those. How to convert other more, maybe not even that complicated, but how to convert things from exponential to logarithmic form, how to solve logarithmic equations. بعدين عندنا بعد rules for logarithms which are similar to the rules of exponents, يعني the same concepts. And that's pretty much it for today regarding exponents and logs. إن شاء